music. You are locked into Six Towns Radio.
Thank you for joining us tonight on this lovely Wednesday evening. I left my door as I walked towards my car, and I thought, you know what, summer is almost here, and that is brilliant because I feel a lot better.
It's going to chuck it down tomorrow. You do know that?
Really?
Yeah, it's going to absolutely throw it down tomorrow. So,
right. Okay. So anyway,
more weather updates with Adam later.
Well, I felt really summery when I walked out. I mean, it was dark, so I don't know why I felt so summery. But you know what I mean? The grass smells.
So summer for you is darkness and rain.
It wasn't raining.
It's a grim place in Adam's weatherhead.
It wasn't raining. We've got a jam-packed show for you tonight. We've got the brilliant Jon Pearson on the phone a little bit later. We're going to be hooking up with him and talking to him about his career in stand-up comedy so far. He's also getting his set together for the Edinburgh Fringe Festival, which for those of you that aren't aware of Edinburgh and what it entails, to contextualise it for you, it's kind of like the World Cup but for stand-up comedy.
It's mad. It's just comedy absolutely everywhere. And any opportunity you get to go to the Edinburgh Festival, you should go. It's absolutely fantastic.
Now, Danny is saying this like he has been before.
Yes, I have.
Okay.
No, I'm lying. I haven't. But I am going. I'm going this year.
Well, you're a good salesman for someone who hasn't actually been there. So you are going this year, then?
Yeah, I've got a couple of gigs. I have. You're looking at me surprised.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I have.
How does your comedy sidekick not know? I remember you asked me, but I didn't realise that you'd sorted it out.
Yeah, when I said we'd been offered a couple of slots in Edinburgh, you went, "Oh, I can't make it, man."
Yeah, true, I did. But I think I'm still a little bit off Edinburgh. I think I've got a little bit to go before I can go up to Edinburgh and do some of my stuff.
In fairness, I'm only doing open tens. So
Open tens. In comedy language, can you translate that for the non-comedy people?
But basically, I go and don't get paid, and I do 10 minutes in the presence of paid, fantastic people, basically.
Great.
Yeah, I think I've explained that really well. Yeah, it's really weird actually, but I do open tens for a while now. I just assume it makes loads of sense, but I explained that really poorly, didn't I?
No, you didn't. I'm sure our listeners, the
comedy elite,
the intellectual standard that they will understand that, Danny. Danny, tell me about your week this week, pal. What's been happening?
It's been awesome and awful at the same time. Okay. Awesome in that had a great gig on Saturday. James Ryan, who's been on the show before. He put on his first gig in Hereford on Saturday, which was absolutely fantastic. It was a cracking night, and I had a really good gig actually. I had a really, really good gig. So that was the awesome bit. But
tell the listeners. Sorry to interrupt you, mate, but tell the listeners about how you came on stage.
Good job, I know what you meant then. Well, James put it on. Obviously, James has gone through sort of like various comedy schools and things like that, and he wanted to put on his own event down in Hereford, where he comes from. So he arranged for Harriet Dyer to open. There was a couple of open slots. I was one of them. Aaron Twitchin, fantastic Aaron Twitchin, was doing the MCing, and we headlined off with Chris Purchase. But it was just really good, and from my point of view, it just gets me out further afield doing gigs, because I've been sort of playing it fairly safe doing local gigs for the last few months. So just a chance to spread my wings and get sort of further afield and try some new stuff. But he's got a really, really good gig there. He's going to keep doing them. I think he's aiming for every 6 to 8 weeks. But he's got a fantastic platform there moving forward. But the awful bit, I've got to get to the awful bit because I want to moan. I've really, really, really badly damaged my back. And I've spent this afternoon... This afternoon, you what?
I just laughed at the fact that
you just laughed? Oh, that's nice. Thanks. You'd be a great male nurse, you would.
Not your pain. That's not why I laughed. Just because of the continuous references that I make to you being slightly more aged than me.
Age advanced than you.
Yes.
Wiser and more mature.
Oh, I don't know about that, pal.
Older and uglier. But anyway, can we get back to the sympathy about my back? I've spent the afternoon having spinal x-rays because basically my back for 3 weeks now has been in a state of pretty much continual agony because I sustained, like most 41-year-old men, I sustained a trampoline injury whilst on holiday in Wales. I thought it'd be a really good idea to leave the trampoline fairly ungracefully by jumping, and when I landed on the ground, I've injured my back. But I'm not really sensing a great deal of sympathy. So should we just move swiftly on from this? You're looking at me like, you've damaged your back, whatever.
I do sympathise. It's horrible. Back injuries are horrendous, especially for a man of your
advancing years,
maturity.
Yeah. You tell me, right? You're at a party, you've got wine or beer in you, or in your case, like fizzy pop and vodka, and there's a trampoline. Are you telling me you wouldn't have a go on the trampoline?
Mate, after a few WKDs, who knows what I would do.
You'd be there going, damn, I bet I can do better somersaults than you.
Yeah. And I'd be able to do better somersaults.
I very much doubt that. I'm quite bendy. I'm quite bendy for a man of my height. Yeah. I just bend it and break it.
Hospital.
Yeah. So anyway, that's enough about lovely me. What's been going on with you this week?
Not a lot, mate. Obviously, I did the gig with you on Monday night.
Yeah, Stafford.
Bank holiday gig, which I arrived there and I was like, that's probably the least enthusiastic I've been about going on stage. And I don't mean that, as a putting a downer on doing stand-up comedy, because it's always an enthralling experience. But just because I hadn't been that relaxed over the bank holiday weekend as I was since I was in the womb. I literally did. I was more productive in the womb. At least I grew a little bit. I don't think I grew at all over the bank holiday weekend. I did literally nothing. I was just obsessed with football pretty much for the whole weekend, and I was very, very ineffective with regards to every aspect of my existence. And then you called me or you dropped me a message on Saturday and said you fancied the gig on Monday night, and I was like, yeah, why not? And then we got there, and I was like, I don't know if I fancy
you did. In fairness, you turned up looking like you'd literally fallen out of bed out the front of your house and into my car.
Mate, I'd slept a lot. I'd slept a hell of a lot, so I was struggling a little bit, but it went okay, didn't it? And I got to meet the brilliant Andy Kind, who's a guy that we will have on this show. I read his book, Stand Up and Deliver. If anybody's thinking of getting into stand-up comedy, for someone who's just starting out, as I am, it's a great read. It's a really good read, and yes, we'll have Andy.
But you had a good gig. You don't. I was going to say the fact that you felt sort of very relaxed. You had an awesome gig.
I had an okay gig. It was okay. But what can you do? So yeah, that's we. As I say, we've got Jon Pearson on the show. We've also pulled up, as we usually do, some of the silliest stories from around the World Wide Web this week. So we'll have a little chat about them. We'll ask Jon a few questions on them as well, see what his thoughts and opinions are. Remember, you can get us on Facebook. Just search for the Comedy Compass on 6 Towns Radio. Like us, and also if you are listening tonight, please let us know if you want a certain song playing. Okay, because we can do that.
80s preferred. 80s,
yes, yeah. It's baggy trousers and madness and baggy trousers. Danny, are you a big fan of Madness?
The band or the state of mind?
The band, obviously.
No.
Oh, do you hear that? This is the sound of our new background song that plays in the back as we talk. Do you like it? Listeners, can you let us know if you like this? It did say instrumental on the information bit that I have on my screen, but that was a little bit of talking there, wasn't it? There you go. So what I was thinking was, and I'm sure the listeners will understand, that instead of just listening to us rabbit on, we can have a little bit of background music.
Our rabbiting is good. It motivates people. It's deep. It's meaningful. Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of people are inspired by the Comedy Compass to make better things of their lives.
Yeah. Well, if nothing else, you think about what they've learnt about over the last few weeks. They've learnt about dogs biting tyres on cars.
Yes,
they've learnt about statues for cats.
Cats farting.
Absolutely. Yeah, all the important stuff.
They've learnt about. Do you remember the heavy breather dog that accidentally called 999? Do you remember that? That wasn't the show that you were on, but basically, a dog kept...
You're like, do you remember that fantastic time when you weren't here, Dan? Oh, we laughed at that funny story. You weren't here, of course. That was our best show ever. Yeah, thanks. Do you remember that great party we all went to? Oh, you weren't there.
All right, Hamish, you were here for that.
Oh, yeah, of course.
That was possibly my favourite story ever. I know, in fact, actually, just picked by the dog that was disguised as a hairy lion.
Oh, you see, my daughter, you can buy those on eBay, and she still wants me to buy one for our dog. Although,
Really?
yeah, I don't really want a white golden retriever looking like a ginger-maned lion.
No. So yeah, remember guys, we've got Jon Pearson on the line. He'll be on the line very shortly, and we'll be talking to him about his comedy career so far. Just before we do that though, we're just going to play you another song. Let's just have a little chat about something, Danny, that you introduced me to this evening. Do you want to tell listeners of what it is?
Yeah, Chris Purchase, a guy who we know quite well. We've both done gigs with him. He's a very, very good pro comic. I did a gig with him on Saturday night. Very, very funny guy, and we are going to get him on the show in the future. But he's put something on Facebook and on the internet today, which I think is absolutely genius. Basically, Chris is getting married as soon as he can afford to, and is trying to raise funds for his wedding. So rather than trying to save up in what we would consider the more traditional way, which we know is very hard nowadays, money is tight, he's decided to find a way to earn this money by basically selling his comedy to those who wish to donate. So what you can actually do is go to his webpage, make a donation, and in exchange for that donation, he will write a bespoke joke for you, which he will email to you on any topic you want, which I've already done. I've already got him to do me a joke today, which is fantastic. Unfortunately, it's not repeatable on air, but that was just by my choice. But if
very good. It's very good.
Yeah, it's offensive to Adam, which is why I love it, which is a shame I can't do it on air. But what you can do as well is, the more you donate, if you, for example, donate £100, he will actually do you a video joke, and then the option is there to donate a lot more, and he will actually come and perform a private, bespoke gig for you. So the world is your oyster. If you basically want a private gig, you've got it. If you want him to do a comedy gig wearing a bikini in a field, give him 500 quid and he'll do that. But it's all to raise funds for his wedding, because he wants to give his fiancée the wedding of her life, which I think is a really good idea.
It really is a terrific idea, and as Danny said there, if you're not a stand-up comic and you don't want a joke writing for you, which a lot of people don't need a joke writing for them, it's also fantastic that you can get him to come and perform at your gaff.
Yeah, you said he'll come and stand in someone's living room and perform to two people if they pay him, and that's what they want him to do. So I did joke with him earlier, get him to come and do a nude gig, but my wife might find it's fine a 30-year-old man just stood naked in our living room telling jokes.
Maybe a little bit, especially naked.
Yeah.
You've already got naked ones tonight. Anyway, I've shared the link to the Chris Purchase website for you to check out and see exactly what Danny was talking about there. It is a terrific idea. Right, we're going to play a bit more music now. We've got a little ad break, I think, and then we've got a bit of Prince 1999, and then we're going to get the lovely, fantastic Jon Pearson on, ladies and gentlemen.
Hurrah!
That was an obscenely quick version of Prince 1999.
That genuinely was the radio edit.
Yeah. No, I don't think it was. It says 1 minute 29 next to it on my little computer. That's how long the song actually is supposed to take. Prince, that's an iconic song. That doesn't actually last that long, does it? If somebody could confirm that to us, that would be.
He's a pint-sized singer with a pint-sized song.
I don't understand that reference, Dan.
Pint-sized, small. I don't mean he's like a milky man.
Is he small though, Prince?
Are you kidding me?
I don't know.
Have you never seen Prince?
I know nothing. I could have had the chance to go and see.
He makes Ronnie Corbett look like a giant.
No way.
Yeah, Prince is tiny, teeny tiny Prince.
Teeny tiny Prince.
Yeah. Teeny tiny Prince. He's really small.
That'd make a very good kids' TV show.
Yeah. Well, I'm writing actually a TV show at the minute called Teeny Tiny Prince. You're stealing my idea.
Prince of the small hill in the small valley.
He's teeny, he's tiny, he's Prince. He's been around since 1999. His songs are really short.
And he wears makeup.
He does.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
He's a small guy who wears makeup. And what? And what, Danny Davis? And what? Right, let's see if we can get Jon Pearson on the line. Jon Pearson is a stand-up comic from Leicestershire, of all places. He's from just outside the place, I think, that makes pork pies.
Greg's.
I'm going to try. Sorry?
Greg's?
No, Malton Mowbray, Daniel. How dare you?
Don't call me Daniel. How dare
you?
Why would you do that to me?
Hold on. Let's see if we can get Jon then. Jon, are you there?
I can't believe you think that Greggs are the ones that make pork pies.
Johnny, that wasn't me, brother. You need to tell Mr. Danny Davis off for that.
Look, listen, John, I apologise. You're a man mountain. I apologise if I've offended you with my Melton Mowbray slander.
How you doing tonight, pal?
I'm great. I'm loving the fact that you didn't know Prince was tiny. You're like,
I'm
where
7.
have you been for like the last 20 years of your life?
John, I'm 7. So
he is ridiculously young, John. Honestly, it's embarrassing. I make references to things that happened a few weeks ago, and he's like, I don't remember that. I was at school.
I was
Do you remember Saved by the Bell? That's the only thing I really go on.
No, mate. I'm 24. That was well, I do remember it. Of course, I'm aware of it, like Screech and all that. But I'm more of a Rugrats guy, to be honest.
That's awful.
So, John, thanks for coming on to Six Downs Comedy Show.
Yes.
It's a pleasure
Thank you
to
for
have you
having me.
on.
It's lovely.
Yeah. You had a busy night tonight?
No, I'm in Woking. I'm in a Premier Inn. Basically, all you've done is just stop me just going to sleep.
Oh, I'm sorry about that, mate.
We stopped you eating scampi and chips in your underwear.
Yeah, pretty much. You've basically stopped me entertaining myself in this Premier Inn bedroom. That's basically what you stopped me doing.
I've got the unfortunate image of a 6'4" man now in his underwear eating scampi and chips.
6'5", Daniel.
6'5"?
Yeah.
I told you, you're just a man mountain. You put me to shame. My piddly 6'3" frame just fails into insignificance against your man mountain.
You're tiny. You're like a midget. You are basically a giant among midgets around me. That's
I am. You're the king, and I am literally the prince. I am Prince, teeny tiny Danny Prince, man.
Yeah. Do you know what? Speaking of Prince, when I did a gig at the Roadhouse in Birmingham, and there was a Prince tribute act on, and he was 6'2".
Wow. That's and white.
Yeah, and a drawn-on moustache and beard.
Oh,
it was classic.
Oh dear. Well, John, listen, we've obviously you're well known to Adam and I. We've sort of been in your presence, done gigs together, and so on. But for the purposes of our listeners, can you just sort of give us an overview of you and sort of what you do and how you got into stand-up comedy originally?
Yeah, I mean, basically, I started stand-up comedy about 4 years ago. And it was mainly because I was bored on a Saturday. My ex-wife at the time, well, she's my ex-wife now, she was my wife at the time, she worked on a Saturday and I got bored. So I went to a course and did that in Birmingham. Then did my first gig at the Highlight in front of 150 people, I think.
And then first gig?
Yeah, it was one of those, it was a course, so like it was like a sort of like a graduation type thing where you invited friends and family.
What was it called?
What, the course?
Yeah.
I think it was called a stand-up comedy course.
It's an original name, really. It doesn't give anything away, though, does it? I mean, how are you supposed to know what it's about?
It was run by a guy called Liam Jones, which I don't think's around. I think he now teaches Chinese kids in China.
Oh, well, fair play. The only reason we asked that, though, John, is because we did something very similar for a guy called Theo in Birmingham, and that's why I thought maybe it was the same.
Oh, no, I did the better one.
And that's why you're as funny as you are.
Exactly, I've seen your act. That's a testament to the guy who teaches Chinese kids now.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. I was that good that he had to leave the country.
You see, he said, that's it, my work is done, I must move on to another country. It's like a comedy drifter. He just goes and solves comedy crime around the world.
I cannot live up to this expectation of what I've created. Look at this monster.
So, apart from being bored then, what else made you want to do stand-up comedy, John? Have you got any inspirations? Did anybody inspire you to go and give it a go?
There's inspiration. Right, well, yeah, I mean, like, if you go to family and stuff, like, my granddad was always funny. He never did it, but my granddad was always like a funny guy that was always making jokes, stuff like that. The main inspiration was that when I did my wedding speech, when I did my groom speech, that was like really well received, and I was just like, you know what, I reckon I can do this.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much when I started. So yeah, that was pretty much it. I've always loved making people laugh. I think that's what it is. And I finally found something that can actually do it to people that don't know me.
How did you feel that first gig? I mean, standing in front of 150 people.
Amazing.
How did that?
Oh, amazing. Really, really amazing. Like, that was when I caught the bug. And then my second gig, I did at the Phoenix in Coventry, and absolutely died.
Yeah, I think it's unfortunate. I mean, Adam and I both experienced this. After smashing a gig, it sometimes tends to follow for a lot of people that you have a bad one. But I suppose having a bad one early on, and you still kept going and kept going, so you obviously learned from it quite quick.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it's just one of the things. Once you know you can do it, you're just like, well, I'll just keep it. You know you can make people laugh, so it's just a bad night. You just got to have thick skin. That's all you got to do. Just take the deaths, and you learn more from deaths anyway.
Yeah, I
take
agree.
More from a bad night than you'll take from a good night. From a good night, you just take, I'm pretty good. But from a bad night, you'll take loads of stuff away from it.
Yeah, you're a lot more. You analyse what you've done a lot more.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you know where you've gone wrong. You know that you've offended someone with something. So just do it differently next time, or don't if you want to try and offend them. Depending on what style of comedy you want to do.
So, John, who's your favourite comic then? Apart from yourself.
One of my favourite comics at the moment, Rod Gilbert is my favourite comic.
Right.
But I'm a massive fan of Dave Gorman as well, because I just think he's just brilliantly clever.
And was there any as you were growing up? Was there any comics as you were growing up that you liked?
Well, yeah, it's all the standard stuff. Like my dad used to didn't make me watch, but I used to watch like Morecambe and Wise with my dad, and I used to watch Tommy Cooper with my dad as well. So I've sort of grown up with all those sort of people.
Oh, fantastic!
That's interesting.
Just for Adam's benefit, because Adam's nodding along now, as if he knows
he's not going to know who any of those people are, is he?
Boys.
Basically, old guy with glasses that wasn't in the Two Ronnies, and a small midgety guy, and Tommy Cooper wore a fez.
Yeah, he died on stage, didn't he, Tommy Cooper?
Yes, that's very true.
Yeah, I'm aware of that.
Did you watch the documentary the other week?
No, but I meant to. I joke that I'm not familiar with anything pre 1993. But I actually.
Do you know nothing before So Solid Crew? Is that how it works?
They were, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking, and to be honest, I know nothing.
Yeah, you don't even know who the Beatles are, do you?
The Beatles, what? Hey, hecklers, because everybody who is on the outs, who's never actually tried to attempt stand-up comedy, they always seem to ask about hecklers. What's your experience of hecklers?
I've had good and bad experience with hecklers. It's one of those things. I think with hecklers, it becomes a confidence thing. If you're more confident, then you can destroy a heckler. But you've got to be quick. That's what you've got to be. But also, you just got to think. It's all about thinking on your feet with hecklers and knowing what to do. You can prepare stuff. Like you can have some stock lines and things like that, and ones that you know you've used before. But pretty much, you just got to use. It's a little bit like karate, where you sort of use their own force against them.
Yes.
And then you just make them look an idiot. If you make them look an idiot, and you've got the thing is, you've got to weigh up the room. If you weigh up the room and everyone else is on your side, you can really go in hard. But if it's not really that nice a room, then you're probably going to turn everyone against you.
You see, the closest I've come, I've not been officially heckled yet, but the gig I did on Saturday night, and I won't embellish this story because James may well be listening, but there were a couple of guys in the audience trying to finish my gags for me. I did a section where I was referring to a part of the country, and I said, "What is this part of the country famous for?" And it was a rhetorical question. I didn't actually want anybody to answer it. A couple of people jumped in, and then when I did, the second part of the joke I did.
It's so easy. You'd like telegraph that.
And then somebody did it again, and I threw something back at this guy. It was inoffensive, but it was my way of saying, I'll do the joke. And I made some reference to him finishing a joke for me later on that had a slightly rude ending, and it went well. But as you say, it just felt right. The room felt on side. It was done harmlessly. But that was the first time I've ever had to sort of do any form of comeback to somebody, and I found it quite empowering. But it's also now made me think, right, well, they're only going to get worse from now on, so I better get better prepared.
In actual fact, you feel more nervous when doing a heckle put down than you do probably doing material.
Yeah.
You can change a night on a heckle put down.
I think it's just the audience are typically going to be on your side anyway. If you're putting someone down, especially if it's someone that's being a prize idiot. But obviously, sometimes the audience could go on the side of the heckler if the heckler's being quite clever. So I suppose, as you say, it's weighing up the room, isn't it?
My best experience with a heckler was the fact that there was a guy who stood at the bar with me and didn't know I was an act until I went on stage. So I'd been stood listening to him for about 15 minutes and I knew everything about his life. So then when he started heckling me on stage, I just destroyed him.
I bet he saw you walking, he was thinking, oh no, it's him. Oh no.
No, he loved it because he thought he was all involved. He was like, oh mate, we're mates, yeah, we're mates. And then he started being a bit aggressive and I was just like, right, I'm just going to destroy him. Just started talking about his girlfriend. Who wasn't there because she wasn't allowed in.
At the end of the gig, he was just there in the audience, just sobbing to himself.
No, he left. He actually left. Because
did he?
Yeah, he just walked out. Yeah.
Oh, that's good. So what? I mean, in terms of your aims for the future. I mean, obviously, in the second part, when we come back and talk to you in a bit, we'll obviously talk about what's on for you later on this year in terms of Edinburgh. But so, what are your long-term plans? I mean, where do you want to go comedy-wise?
I don't know. I just want to keep doing it. I love doing it, and it's one of those things that now that I'm doing it, I've realised it's one of those things that I've probably always wanted to do.
Yeah.
And I just want to do it. I want to do it full time. That's what I want. That's my main aim. And to not have to work. Apart from in comedy, obviously, I want to get out of an office job, basically. Which, if anyone from my work is listening, that's probably going to mean that I'm probably going to be doing that in the next couple of weeks.
Hopefully not, John. Well, maybe, because then it might be a blessing in disguise.
However, it might be a debt-ridden future for me.
There is that.
Yeah, you're like, I'm really good at comedy, but I can't afford to eat.
Yeah, I can't afford to eat, which is probably a good thing for me as well, to be honest.
No.
Right, we'll play a bit of music then. We've got a little bit of Lionel Richie, and then we'll come back and we'll ask you about Edinburgh.
Awesome.
All right,
See you in a minute, man.
See you in a bit, mate.
Welcome back to Six Towns Radio with Adam Parsington and Danny Davis. We have the brilliant Jon Pearson on the line, ladies and gentlemen.
Woo!
I was just praying that he'd say something there.
I was more worried that I felt really quite creeped out by your voiceover during that Lionel Richie song.
I know.
It was sillister. That's how he talks to his girlfriend.
Really creepy.
That's how I talk to me mum.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, you just randomly talk about Lionel Richie to your mum? That is a bit odd. I have visions of you now talking to your girlfriend going, "Hi, it's me, Lionel Richie." She's
like, "Oh, Lionel, stop it."
Well, Lionel, you're so sensual. So anyway, John, obviously we alluded to in the first part of the interview that we were going to talk about Edinburgh. So from your point of view, can you just explain Edinburgh, what it is for you, what you're going to be doing, and how this has all sort of come about?
Edinburgh for me, this is my second Edinburgh. Last year I went up, I did a two-hander, so I did like 30 minutes in a show. I did an hour show with Johnny Greatrix, and it was called The Two Johnnies, which was basically just both of our two sets for half an hour, just back to back. There wasn't any link. Well, there's a bit of link, but no major link. But this year I'm going up on my own. I'm doing an hour,
Awesome.
And this show is going to be called The Last Supper, which is about the last meal I had with my ex-wife.
Are you allowed to expand on any more, or are you keeping this a secret for the show?
No, I can expand. But basically, I've realised that every single relationship I've had has ended over a meal.
Are you a terrible cook or something?
Sorry?
Are you some sort of terrible cook?
No, it's usually when I'm out. It's always when I'm out. It's like the first one was in McDonald's, because I was only 16. That's where you take girls, isn't it?
You're a classy man. You're a classy man.
I'll have to go and take her for a fillet of fish.
That is quite posh, though. If you're going to,
it is. Yeah, fillet of fish is posh for McDonald's.
Yeah.
I like the fact that you're calling it the filet o fish. You're totally embracing it. It's strange pronunciation instead of. I call it a fish burger. What's wrong with that?
Fillet of fish.
Well, because you're wrong. The only problem I've got with the fillet of fish is because they put it in a chicken sandwich meal bun. That just annoys me.
No, they don't. It's not a chicken sandwich bun. If you notice, it's void. It's completely void of sesame seeds, and they actually steam the bread. It's in a steamed bun.
All they do is they rub the sesame seeds off on their leg.
Gents, I just need to say
and then put it by the coffee machine. That's all they do.
Gents, I just need to say that there are other respectable food outlets within the United Kingdom.
There's Burger King, KFC.
There are. The Dancing Chicken
in Swansea.
The Dancing Chicken. Oh, you see.
Yeah, there's lots of them.
There's a KFC knockoff in Melton Mowbray that was called USA Chicken,
That's
but
awesome.
they spelt Melton Mowbray wrong on all their flyers.
Oh, that was good of them.
Oh, that's
Yeah, they're
good marketing. Although it's obviously worked. You're talking about it, so it's obviously stuck in your mind. It's like
They went bust many years ago when I left.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for them.
Right,
So anyway, sorry. So the Last Supper. Sorry, most of your relationships ending over meals. Sorry, I butted in.
That's all right. It's fine. You can put in all you want. Yeah. Basically, yeah. So that's what it's about. This came about just mainly because I felt like I had to get. I wanted to get this story out. That's basically what it was. It's been hitting me. It's been in my head for ages, and I can't write anything else at the minute other than writing about this.
John, on this note, I'm really intrigued to know, mate, because I've heard other comics say this. Do you find that within your own personal relationships now, I definitely do, but do you find that anything that happens within your life, you think, how can I put a spin on this and make this into something that I can deliver on stage?
I think you're looking at things in a very wrong way if that's how you look at your entire life.
Right, okay.
I'm joking, no, it's true. No,
I'm a mentalist.
His face, honestly, John, his face dropped. It was like, oh no,
John, you had me there. That was brilliant. That was absolutely fantastic, because I was like, oh God, Dad, John's been doing this for quite a while.
Literally everything you see becomes a joke. Literally everything you see. Like I took a picture yesterday of a guy in a service station who was taking a picture of the empty Krispy Kreme's donut stand. And I thought, that's a great picture to take, because I reckon I can write something on that. What can I ever write on that? All I could think of was, oh, he's a donutter. That's all I got.
That's absolutely brilliant.
It's not, though, is it?
Yes.
Literally, my phone is full of these rubbish pictures of just random stuff.
Oh, the sad thing is, both Adam and I now are racking our brains trying to really quickly come up with a donut gag, and we can't.
You're not going to beat it.
We're not. So, with regards to Edinburgh, though,
we'd never be able to put a ring on it.
Hey! There it is.
I should have coated mine, man.
Oh, you see? I still haven't got one. I'm just going to...
I was thinking of something along the lines of...
I hang around with Masai Graham too much. That's my problem.
I know. Masai, by the way, he's Masai Graham, funny one-liner comment. He's doing the Swan Inn in Stone on Monday the 12th of May, guys, if you want to see the
Danny, you get to talk about the shows that you're putting on at the end. We discussed this,
and no.
Okay,
sorry, I'll go back to...
I've done one of his gigs, it was alright.
Yeah, no, they are. There's nothing wrong with his gigs.
I just want it all to be about me!
So, mate, with regards to Edinburgh again, what kind of planning are you doing on the run-up to, like, doing your big show over there?
It's just previews. I've just listened to preview. It's just previews, all of it. Everything, basically, for the last 2 years, I've been writing for Edinburgh. And I think that's because I did it with Johnny last year, and that's why Johnny's not going up this year, I think, because it basically just takes your life over for an entire year, where everything just works up to August.
Yeah.
So, yeah, all it is just writing, rewriting, doing previews, finding stuff that doesn't work. I was in Brighton for their Fringe this weekend to do my show for the first time for an hour, and then I'm back down there again at the end of the month with the rewritten show that everything that didn't work this weekend is going to be rewritten and put back into it for the last weekend of May. So it's all just about writing. That's all it is for like an entire 12 months, from the minute you leave Edinburgh to the minute you go back.
It must help being single.
Yeah, I'm not single though, that's the problem.
You're not?
No.
Oh, I thought you were.
Now you see, it's all behind the curtain now, this, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. We're really getting, we're getting to know
You all
Jon
thought
Pearson.
I was single.
I did, mate. Well, obviously your set's very based around your ex-wife, and as in like a kind of an observation, it sounds on stage like you're quite bitter about the way it broke up. Therefore, I'd assume that you're still single. That's just how it sounds on stage. Obviously, you're probably not, mate.
Most people in relationships, Adam, always sound bitter and twisted.
What you've basically done is you've just brought it all back up to me.
By the way, I just want to go back. I've got a donut joke.
Oh, he's written one. He does this, John. Come on, then.
It's absolutely awful, but you could have gone up to him and said, great picture. You were really jammy then. That's the limit.
That makes no sense, Daniel.
Jam donut. see, to me that's donut genius. But I'll come back to it.
Okay. I think me and you need to have a talk about what you think is genius.
Well, if you'd have heard the joke that I said to Adam on the way over in the car, that I said, I think this is my best joke that I wrote today. Do you want to hear it? And he made some reference to it not being particularly good.
Every time I meet you, you're always like, oh, I've written all these jokes today.
Do you know what, John? I say this to a lot of the guests we have on. I've been standing waiting to go on just before Danny, or chatting to him just before he goes on, and he said to me on more than one occasion, I've just written a new set in my head, and I'm going to do it. And I'm like, what? And he just goes on and does it. And
it's never funny, but I just write sets that aren't funny.
But you're always... I've never known it... John, I spoke to Freddie Farrell on a personal podcast that I did a few months ago, and we were talking about like the actual process.
Did you just call him Freddie Farrell?
Yeah, I did. Freddie Farrell.
It's Farrell, isn't it? I can't believe I said that.
Freddie Farrell.
Farrell is that like American rapper.
Freddie Farrell.
Freddie Farrell. Oh, that's a bit, yeah.
You're listening to Six Towns Radio with a damper time tongue.
Jon Pearson.
Sorry, God, you were saying about
Mate,
Freddie Farrell.
He was saying Freddie Farrell. He was saying basically that when you start off, it's best to just get like a solid 10 minutes and then work it out. You were saying the same thing to me after the gig at Stafford. Would you advise that Danny gets a set on lockdown and just hammers it out on stage?
It's a matter of, I think the way there's no set way of doing it, but the way that worked for me, and obviously the way that worked for Freddie, if he's been talking about it, is to get. Well, that's the way that worked for a lot of the people I've talked to. You get a 10 down and get your 10, and then you start to build from that. And if you can get a solid 10, then people are going to book you again, and then you'll start to get longer sets. So you have to add more stuff in. Then you get up to 15. Then you get up to 20. It's all about if you get a solid 10 and become a really solid 10 act, then that's, I think, where things start to pick up. Because if you're permanently going over material, you're never going to tweak. You're never going to realise that if you put like one little pause in this bit, or if you change that word for that word, or move that word around to there, you're never going to know if it's going to work.
Yeah, is that right?
Yeah, I think that's. I mean, in terms of my 10 at the moment, I mean, I did a gig down in Hereford. Well, about 3.5. I've got a 10 that I do. I mean, you saw me do it in rugby the other week, and I did it in Hereford this weekend. So I've got a 10 that I'm still doing. I just tweak it a bit from time to time, like everybody does. But what I did is, I mean, there's been a couple of like new material nights, of course. Like the one on Monday night was a new material night. So you throw in a bit of the old stuff and go with some new stuff as well. And it just happens to be that I'm always thinking, right, keep perfecting this 10, but I'm always looking towards the next 10.
It's not a bad thing to do. Not a bad thing to do to have like notes and ideas being written down. But yeah, I suppose what you're saying, like new material nights. But then it's how you want to use your new material nights. Like the way I use my new material nights now is for just brand new material.
Yeah.
Whereas when I first started, it was all about stage time and getting that craft down and getting that 10 down and getting my timing down to a T and knowing how long things were. And
yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Just getting comfortable on stage is the main thing. I mean, you're pretty comfortable on stage anyway, to be honest.
Who?
You look a bit gangly.
Who, Danny?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think he's going to be calling you gangly.
No, true.
Yeah.
You're definitely not gangly. You're much more stocky.
Young.
Stocky.
Stocky?
He's calling you fat. So he just calls you
that.
fat on radio.
I'm over with that.
I didn't call him fat. I called him stocky.
Do you even lift, bro? Anyway, let's play a little bit of music, and then we'll come back and you can tell us about your social feeds, John, and like your website and whatever, and then any gigs you've got coming in, and then we'll call it a day because we've only got till 12 o'clock. That's not very good, is it?
Yeah. You turn into pumpkin.
What's that?
we just go to chips. We have to get out.
Right, you've got a little ad break, and then you've got Michael Jackson. Beat it.
6 Sounds Radio.
It might be from Danny, though.
Okay, welcome back. John, are you still there, mate?
Yeah, I also think it's called an outro when you're coming out of music, and I'm not even in radio.
Ha, 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 ha.
Oh, Jon Pearson, you're so funny. You're so funny.
He was saying to me literally before that, about 15 seconds on Skype, saying, I don't want to sound like a know-it-all.
No, we were actually saying when you were off mic, then we were actually saying that you've been a pleasure to listen to tonight. You got loads of great advice, and there are people listening that will think it's good. And from our point of view, we're sitting here frantically writing notes down while you're talking. Go, yeah, John said this, John said that. Must do this, must do that. Must think of better donut jokes. I'm letting him down. Stop being so gangly. Stop being gangly. Must put weight on.
I'll definitely ring some things around that.
Yeah. All right, let's move on from the donut jokes, because you just anything I write now donut related, you just say, yeah, well, John just told me that.
I'm going to make it one of my life. I'm really going to make it like I feel like I've made a real stride in life, and I've achieved something if I write a better donut joke.
By next week's show, and we'll air them both, we've both got to write a donut joke.
And what we'll do is
hashtag donut jokes.
Yes. And what we'll do is we'll put it to the listeners, and we'll ask them to
vote for the winner of donut.
There's something glaze over it.
Oh, stop it, man! Stop it!
I'm desperately clawing at it.
I know.
We've got such a terrible.
I know. John's just sitting there. He's got 37 donut jokes in his armoury, just ready and waiting. We're going to try and come up with one in a week. So anyway, John, if people are interested in either seeing you, learning more about you, catching up on sort of anything to do with you from social media, can you just sort of read out now, give us some of your sort of like information on Twitter, Facebook, how we can get hold of you?
Yeah, I've got a website. It's www.jonpearson.co.uk. and on there I've got links to my Facebook and my Twitter, but my Twitter is at JohnnyP_comic. That's JONNY_COMIC.
Fantastic.
Not to get confused with my dad, because my dad's name is Jon Partington, and
has he got Jon Partington Comic as his Twitter name?
But he has. But I think he's got Johnny P. And then
has he got written on Converse like I have?
What?
Other trainers are available. Is this going on YouTube, by the way?
It might do. I'm going to listen to
I want it to try and beat your Simon Greenall video that's on YouTube that's had 4,442 hits.
That's not ours personally. You mean the radio stations?
No, the radio station. And also Lucy Kite, who was a weather girl, who's now had 2,226 hits, which will probably go up to 2,227 by the time I finish tonight.
John,
she's hot.
I was just going to say, Lucy Kite she's the lady that when she reads the weather out, I really don't notice what the weather is.
No, she's proper. She's really nice.
She's really, really nice, and she's got. She reminds me of Lucy Porter.
Oh yeah, she's as tiny as Lucy Porter.
Yeah.
We've now covered the weather, and now weather girls.
I know.
The show.
It's literally raining men.
That was awful.
I just didn't want to laugh. That's what I love. I love when people listen to me say jokes and go, I just didn't want to laugh. Yeah. I just didn't want to laugh. I can't hear that enough.
I hear a whole crowd saying that.
That's like most of my reviews. Do you know what? I just didn't want to laugh.
Didn't want to laugh.
A blossoming comedy career awaits Danny Davis or Danny DeVias, if Adam's saying my name.
No, I think it would be D Daddy DeVias.
So, John, just to quickly wrap up, mate. What other gigs have you got in the offing then over the next few days?
Well, tomorrow I'm at the Factory Floor in Birmingham, which is at the Red Lion, which is Freddie Farrell's gig.
Oh yeah, Freddie Farrell at the Red Lion.
This is going to be
and then 13th I'm in Newcastle, so that probably won't really make any difference to your listeners because it's miles away. Not the Newcastle near you, the Newcastle up the top.
The real Newcastle.
Yeah, well, you say real. I like your Newcastle just as much.
It's a lovely Newcastle, but it's not the real one, is it? It's
not got the right type of girls, though, has it?
Oh, I don't know about that.
Where else are you?
My wife's from Newcastle. How dare you?
I'm at the Barge and Barrel in Tipton on the 20th of May. If you want to come down there, that's close to you guys.
Yeah, Tipton from Stoke-on-Trent is just down the road. It's about an hour away.
Kidderminster, how close is that to you? Because I'm doing a preview on the 23rd of May if you want to come and see that.
That's quite far. But anyway, everybody,
can you not just do more gigs around here? It'd be much easier for us. We don't have to drive.
Book me in for some paid stuff, Danny, and we'll do it.
Oh, I set myself up for that, didn't I?
You have. No, John, listen, we really appreciate you coming on tonight, mate. It's been fantastic. And
no worries.
To all the listeners, you've been listening to the Comedy Compass on 6 Sounds Radio. You can get us on Facebook at the Comedy Compass on 6 Sounds Radio, and on YouTube as well. If you search the same thing on there, we will come up and you can listen again to the show. But you won't want to do that if you're listening now because you've already listened to the show.
No, they will.
In fact, you will.
It's Comedy Genius. They want to listen to it again and again and again.
That's true.
Donut jokes.
Exactly. It's the way forward. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for listening tonight. We're going to play a little bit of Eddie Grant, man. To kind of, that was my attempt at a reggae type voice. And I think
it's so awkward, it's painful.
We'll leave it there. Anyway, thank you.
Cheers, Johnny
Davis. Thank you, Johnny. Thank you.
Adam, thank you. No, thank you.
Thank you.
See you later, guys.
Bye.
We love music. You are locked into 6 Towns Radio.